It is such a pleasure to be here with you, and I want to thank Director Beard for that wonderful, wonderful introduction for her and her team. I want to thank her so much for making sure that I got here today. She's a bad mama jamma, too. So happy birthday to you guys. I understand you're 45 years old. 45 is the new 35. Can I get an amen? Now, for organizations, being 45 and 100 is a beautiful thing. As Dr. King once said, longevity has its place. But I just want to say happy birthday to you. And your theme this year, Fighting for Justice, I want to thank you for that. Can I do a hashtag, the struggle is real? Now, before sister gets started, I got to do my selfie with the group. I pulled this out of my purse. We're going to talk about that purse in a minute. But a sister got to do a selfie with you guys. Because see, I got to put this on social media. Is that all right? So we're going to do a great big APW selfie up in this place. Hello, somebody. I got to do it from many angles. So many of y'all up in here. Hello. And if you are on Twitter or social media, you got to do this thing. I need y'all to follow a sister at Nina Turner. But I'm going to put this I'm putting it back in my purse. The struggle is real. So now, you know this, though, in your daily lives, every day as individuals. You know this because of the people that you serve. You serve, as my grandmother used to say, la-di-da-di, and everybody. You see, everybody comes before the Postal Service. And in this country of 322 million folks, the vast majority, or at least 90% of the 99, come up through the Postal Service. The struggle is real. And this is why we must continue to fight for justice. Now, before I get all the way started, I got to say, again, a special thank you to my sister girlfriend, Director Judy. And if I can pause, though, for a moment. See, I don't even know why I bring up notes. I don't use teleprompters. That gets folks in trouble, get people like me in trouble. Because sometimes I'm inclined to speak the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help me God. But while I'm still talking about Sister Judy, I got to say this. For my sisters in the house, if we were just at a sister girl meeting and I want y'all to just kind of close your ears for a minute because I'm just talking to the sisters right now. But if I was at a sister girl session, I would say the following, that if God created anything better than a woman, any little thing at all, he must have kept it to himself. Can I get an amen, sisters? Can I get an amen, sisters? But I'm going to leave that right there. Hopefully we can get a Women's Day service, sisters, and we can just follow that all the way through. But I'm going to put a pin in that right there. But to the president, President Mark, to Vice President Debbie, to our convention co-chairs. We got to give our convention co-chairs a shout out, Joe and Doris. To our Secretary Treasurer, Liz. And a hometown shout out to my Cleveland folks, Delio Friedman, Jackie Harris, and James Dennis. I got to show some love for my hometown folks. I just want to thank you guys so much. You got to call the roll because folks like to have their names called. You got to do that. I understand this. It is a beautiful thing. And Mr. President, can I just say this? I want to thank your organization for supporting me because when I ran for Secretary of State in the great state of Ohio, your organization was right there by my side. So I love the APUW. I want to thank you all for your leadership. I want to thank you for your endorsement of Senator Bernie Sanders in the primary. And I read the notes that the president had to say because I understand that the executive committee has now endorsed Secretary Clinton. But I really do appreciate what the president had to say. He didn't pretend like everybody was going to be happy with this. He didn't pretend like everything was all right. He didn't pretend like everybody was over it already. He acknowledge that in that endorsement process. And that is a beautiful thing because some folks ain't all right, not yet. And I understand that. I embrace that. And I want to thank the president for embracing that as well because we fought like hell in that primary for Senator Bernie Sanders. We did. And he ran one of the greatest insurgency candidacies in modern history, which led to the most progressive Democratic platform in the history of the Democratic Party. And in that, reaffirming the work that you do each and every day, that the Postal Service is important to the fabric of the United States of America. He did that thing, but it was you and your advocacy in pointing to what the Democratic Party should adopt in its platform. And I was in that platform fight, and Senator Sanders said all along, all the way, that banking in particular should be part of the mission of the United States Postal Service. So that poor folks don't have to go to a payday lender or check cash in place, that they can go to a service right in their neighborhood and see people who care about them, people who lead the charge of serving the public each and every day. That was a beautiful thing. And but for that fight, but for his candidacy, that would not have been in there. And then to make sure that vote by mail is the thing. Sisters and brothers, the greatest equalizer that we have, where it doesn't matter who you are not, is the ballot box. One woman, one man, one vote. And we cannot allow anybody to trample on that. So my God. So everything that we collectively do today will have an impact on tomorrow, the next day, and the next generation. So can I just, because I know President Trump, you've had folks talk to you about why this election cycle is important. I argue to you that every single election cycle is important. And I want to say this to you. I'm feeling a little bit of Teddy Roosevelt. President Teddy Roosevelt is all up on the sister today. I love my husband, but I'm feeling Teddy right now. And President Roosevelt once said that far and away the best prize that life has to offer is the chance to work hard at a work worth doing. Sisters and brothers, can I talk to you this morning about a work worth doing? Say work worth doing. My God. And standing up for the disappointed, the disinfected, the disengaged is a work worth doing. To deal with the fact that in this country, the chances are that if you are born poor, you will die poor. That in these United States of America, the wealthiest nation on the face of the earth, that income and wealth inequality is real. The struggle is real. That 10% of the folks in this nation hold 76% of the wealth. The struggle is real. That we have to continue to fight in this century, in this moment, against folks who would use their political clout and their political might to deny people access to the ballot box because they don't have the ovaries to compete head up. That's going to catch up with you in a minute. I'm talking about a work worth doing. And as I have traveled this country with Senator Bernie Sanders, to see the tears in the eyes of working mamas and working daddies and grandparents who have to take over not just being grandparents, but being the mamas and the daddies for their children because people are suffering in this country. And we have made progress, no doubt about it. We are a nation of progress. But the funny thing about progress is that you want to keep it going. A work worth doing. So your fight for justice is not just in the postal service, but your fight for justice is what you do each and every day as being living human beings in this country, on this earth, that we need you, both collectively and as individuals. Now, sisters and brothers, can I say this? Titles are good. Titles get your phone calls returned. Titles cause people to look at you a different way. Titles get you in the room. But how many of you know, I'm tired of folks who just care about being in the room. I want them to do something when they get there. Can somebody help me out? That's just me. You got folks who giddy, they at the table, they so giddy they don't know what to do, they've lost their focus. So what I say, sisters and brothers, titles are good, but purpose is better. And we need people with purpose. From the dog catcher to the president of the United States of America, that we need folks who understand that that power that they have belongs to the people, and you must wield that power on behalf of the people. And if you are not doing that, we don't need you. We don't need you. We just don't. At a work worth doing. And so, when you are public servants, and I know sometimes it's hard to remember that because you got some folks in Congress who want to do the United States Postal Service in. We get that. We got some folks on the state levels of government who want to cut collective bargaining rights. We get that. But can I say this, sisters and brothers, that our job is to make sure that we are voting every single election cycle, that electing mayors and city council folks and state senators and state reps and governors just as important as electing the president of the United States of America. See, we got this all wrong. And when President Barack Obama was elected, we celebrated like hell, didn't we? Madam Secretary, we celebrated so hard that we lost our focus. And what I mean by that is that we lost elections in 2010 and we lost elections in 2014. And my God, all of the fury of chaos and controversy that has overtaken this nation has happened at the state level of government primarily. So we can't abdicate our responsibility to do the daggone thing. And voting is the last part of the process. You must be advocates all throughout the process so that when you cast that ballot, it is real. And can I say, as somebody in the elected ministry, that we got to start holding folks accountable. When we elect folks, because this is the professor in me coming out, my students get a midterm grade. Right? They get a midterm grade so that they know that by the time the end of the semester, they know exactly where they stand so that if they need to do a course correction, they can do a course correction. Well, we need to do that for people we elect for office. They're not forever entitled to your vote and your support. If they're not standing up for the people, you give them their little scorecard. 2 years in. And you say, you a little deficient. Let the record reflect. But I'm going to give you an opportunity to course correct. So by the time that election comes up, you juxtaposition what you asked them to do, what they said they were going to do. Because I got to say that some politicians will tell you whatever you want to hear just to get that vote. Now, not me. But some other folks. But you give them the vote and you give them a chance to correct the course. And if the course is not corrected, then you got some decisions to make. This is your power. And we don't owe anybody anything. That those of us who are in elected ministry, we owe you. We got it all wrong. We owe you. But we, the people, gay, straight, Jew, Gentile, atheist, Buddhist, Christian, Muslim, Native American, African American, Hispanic, white, lottie-dottie, and everybody. Because I know I done left some folks out. I'm going to hear about it. But together, the mosaic of humanity, we owe it to each other to make this world a better place. And that starts with you, all of you, us together. Can I quote Brother Frederick Douglass when he once said that power concedes nothing without a struggle. It never has and it never will. Ain't nobody just going to give us something. We got to fight for it. You are fighting for justice. Your program doesn't say we started fighting for justice 45 years ago and we stopped because we got justice. It says fighting for justice. It is a generational proposition that never ends. It never ends. Or can I channel my sister Barbara Jordan, Congresswoman, when she said that what the people want is simple. They want an America as good as its promise. Simple. Now, I don't know about you, but I've never met anybody who said that when they grow up they want to be poor. Have you met anybody like that? But you got some folks in some of these spaces who act as if people strive to be poor, that they strive to be on public assistance, that they strive to live in public housing. Woo, that's the life for me. But how many of you know that life is hard, the struggle is real, and some of us fall short, and when we fall down, we need our sisters and brothers to the left and to the right, to the front and to the back to be there to pull us up when we fall. That's the kind of America we are. We, us. And so delayed, sisters and brothers, does not mean denied. But you have work to do every single day of your life. We should be striving to do and to push for something that is greater than ourselves. You are the ultimate public servants. You see people in all phases of their lives. When people walk into your doors, especially those of you who are on the front lines, when folks come in there to get that money order, they come to get those stamps, or they come to get packages picked up or delivered, you see them through all of their struggle. So when you go back to work, I want you to walk up in there like you are a servant. And can I just say, from my Christian background, and I know everybody is not a Christian. As a matter of fact, I know everybody in here might not even be a Democrat. I'm not talking to you about being a Democrat. I am talking to you about being a sister and a brother in the struggle who wants to make this world a better place. That's how I'm talking. Service is what you do, and you are valued. And the reason why it's important for you to vote every election cycle, because if we had different kinds of folks controlling the Congress, you might not have to worry about folks threatening your livelihood every single election cycle. We got to vote. But before that, we have to advocate. So, sisters, bro, I'm just going to wrap this thing up. I'm feeling, good, and they told me not to step off the stage, but I got to. I got to. I'm sorry. I'm a rebellious kind of woman, I guess. All of y'all understand this. I march to the beat of my own drum. Because I had too many of my sisters and brothers in the African-American struggle who died for me to be able to be who the hell I am. Can I just, don't nobody control. I am a Shirley Chisholm woman, unbought and unbossed. So I got to come down here among the people because that's where I live. Can I just say this to you? That you are the ultimate public servants. You might not be elected to anybody's office, but you stand in the gap for people. And we need you. Not just your vote, because you got elected folks always coming up here and we talking about the vote. No, I need you to be genuine, good human beings most of the time. Most of the time. Most of the time. Most of the time. Mr. President, is that true? We need it most of the time. And you got to be in this struggle always. If I can just testify. I grew up in a single mama household. See, everybody has a story, and my parents got married very, very young, and it just didn't work out. And being the oldest of 7 children, I want you to know why I fight like hell. Mother Jones once said that she would pray for the dead and fight like hell for the living. That's how I roll. That's how I roll. I guess I got to stay in the light. Chocolate sister, y'all got to see me. I get out among the people. One day when I was a sophomore at Cuyahoga Community College, I got some bad news. And in the dark ages, we didn't have text messages, so it was an old-fashioned note on the refrigerator door. And the note told my husband and I to go to the hospital because my mother was there. And I didn't think anything of it, sisters and brothers, because my mother had a history of high blood pressure. I just thought it was one of those things. But little did I know that that moment was going to be a defining moment in my life. When I got to the hospital, all my 6 siblings were already there. I have my brothers 6 feet 5 inches tall. I opened the door and they were all crying. And as the eldest of 7 children, I tried to keep it together, but my emotions started to take hold of me as I realized that something was wrong. The doctor walked into the room. She said, "Family, I hate to inform you, but your mother is in a coma." I asked the doctor, could I go to the room to see my mama? And when I got there, I noticed that her eyes were rolled to the back of her head and her tongue was hanging out of the left side of her mouth. And I analyzed her clothing and I noticed that the paramedics had cut her clothing from her body. I could no longer contain myself. As I started to have a flashback, have you ever had a flashback about how you got over? About a week or so later, the doctor came to me as the oldest child. She said, "Turner, you got a very big decision to make today. You see, because that machine by your mama's bed is the only thing that is keeping her alive. She's not coming back. And oh, by the way, do you want to donate her organs?" From that day to this day, that has been the hardest decision I've ever had to make in all of my life. When to pull the plug on the woman that gave me life. But as sure as I know that there is a God in heaven, I ask God to give me strength. And if he did, I would become a cycle breaker. Sisters and brothers, how many cycle breakers? All people need are opportunities. They can break the cycle of poverty, the cycle. I'm talking about a work worth doing. So when you see me fighting on TV or you saw me traveling this country for a man that I believed in the mission and the cause of standing up for the working poor, everybody is not middle class. We got some poor folks in the United States of America. And we got to say the words. Everybody doesn't want, nobody wants to be poor, but they're here, they exist. And what can we do collectively through public policy? What can we do is just being good human beings to help people when they fall. If somebody or somebodies weren't there to help me, I don't know where I would be today. My mother died at the age of 42 years old with her dreams deferred on the system of welfare. No life insurance policy, no money in the bank. So when I have a righteous indignation for people who are struggling each and every day, I don't want to hear excuses from policymakers about why they can't use public policy to make this world a better place. I just don't want to hear it. I ain't got time for it. So I fight. I fight like hell for the living. And you are part of that fight, us collectively. So I just had to give that testimony. I'm about to close this thing out. If I had tennis shoes, I'd run around this room. Because the struggle is real. But I'm talking to you about a work worth doing. Standing up in this election cycle and the next and the next and the next. But even before that is a work worth doing. Going to work every day with the pride that comes with being public service all across this country is a work worth doing. Giving your sisters and brothers a smile every now and then is a work worth doing. Lifting up people who have fallen is a work worth doing. It's worth doing. And we got to do it. So in closing, Mr. President, politicians and preachers get 5 closings. In the black church, we get 5 closings. Number one. Number one. I believe that the creator of this universe has given us 2 hands, one to reach forward and one to reach back, lifting as we climb. We are our sisters and our brothers' keepers. Don't ever forget it. Number 2, and most importantly, sisters and brothers, now this is it. Focus on this. We can't ask other folks to do more for us than we are willing to do for ourselves. Now, we just can't. You got to be willing to have some skin in the game. What are you going to sacrifice? But lastly, in the words of my grandmother, sisters and brothers, my grandmother was hailed from the South. She couldn't read or write. She was born in 1913. She only had a 3rd grade education, but she had what we call in the African-American community mother wits. One of the smartest women I have ever known. When I asked my grandmother, now when I said grandma couldn't read or write, but she could count her money, sisters. She kept her money in the Southern Ladies. In the Southern Ladies Bank and Trust. When I asked my grandmother, what does it take to be successful in this thing called life, she said, my dear granddaughter, all you need are the 3 bones. I want to leave you with the 3 bones. She said the wishbone, the jawbone, and the backbone. She said the wishbone will keep you hoping and praying because hope is the motivator, but the dream is the driver. The reason why we do what we do each and every day is because we hope and believe that tomorrow will be better than today. She said the jawbone will give you courage to speak truth, to power, to lift your voice, to not be silent. When something is wrong, you got to say something. And I don't care who it offends. Say something. What they say, you see something, say something. When you see something, say something. But my grandmother said the most important bone of them all, the supercalifragilisticexpialidocious bone, is the backbone, because the backbone will keep us standing through all of our trials and our tribulations. Can I watch this? We can't have a testimony without a test. And we are being tested about whether or not we have courage enough, collective oomph enough to do what is right, to stand up for what is right, to speak that truth to power, to be involved, to be engaged. That is what your duty is. And I know that the president and the vice president and other officers and Judy in her new position could use some folks who actually gonna do some damn work and stop all the complaining. Is that? Now, or can I just say this? You can complain while you work. But the genesis of change in this great nation comes from the grassroots, not the grass tops. It comes from people who have a righteous indignation and who are willing to put something on the line for the next generation. I'm hoping that you are those people. A work worth doing. A work worth doing. So I beg you, that no matter what your disappointments are, even in that disappointment, you must continue to do the work worth doing. I know the president always says, don't boo, vote. But as one of my friends said, you can boo and vote at the same time. Whatever it is that you put your hand to do and your mind to do it like your life depended on it. A work worth doing. That this world, this space, not just the postal service, not just what you do for a living, but who you are, that you are not expendable, that you are bigger than a vote. But we need you. We always have needed you, and we will need you after this election cycle to do a work worth doing. I want you to go back to your community set on fire after this convention about your fight for justice and understand that the struggle, as Dr. Otis Moss once said to me, the struggle is forever, so we are forever in the struggle. It never ends. It never ends. So I want you to do this thing, even when you're not feeling like it. Because this can't always be based on feeling. It has to be based on the doing. A work worth doing. So God bless you, sisters and brothers. We gonna do this daggone thing. Are we gonna do this daggone thing? We gonna do this daggone thing. We will continue to use our gifts to make this world a better place. If you see something, say something, but more importantly, do something. God bless you.